Hello everyone! The new Shadowverse patch is live as of today, and I'm going to go over all of the new pre-built decks that you can purchase. I think each of them include 5 legendary cards, so if you don't need them you can always vial them. Let's see if they're worth it. They cost 1,200 crystals. And I think they include a sleeve, but I may be wrong. I know you get these purchase bonuses down here. I'll talk about those later. Let's just go into the decks first. Start off with Forestcraft. Let's look at the legendaries you get. You get 2 Odins, 1 Cynthia, and 2 Carbuncles. For golds, you get 3 Apostle of Unkilling, 3 Milolo, and 3 Grimir. So value-wise, all of these legendaries are playable. Cynthia is very strong. She's probably the strongest of the 5 legendaries you get. Sadly, you only get 1 of her compared to the 2 of the other ones, but still fine. This deck is a Evolve Forest deck that wants to focus on Hinakkar, Warring Thunder, Grimir, Jaftar. So you just want to do a lot of evolves early game. Apostle of Unkilling and Carbuncle is a combo where Apostle of Unkilling will draw the 1 play point spell from a Carbuncle. So if you're building this deck, first thing I think you should do is take out Fairy Circle and find a way to replace that with maybe some 2 drops or something else. If you have the vials, I would go for more Cynthias. Definitely take out the cores. So, other than the Fairy Circles and the cores, and maybe you want to cut down the number of Apostle Killing, the deck is pretty solid. Yeah, I think this is a good deck for new players. It uses the Evolve mechanic a lot. It's very straightforward. The value from the gold and legendary is just fine. They're all playable cards. I think the Forest Craft deck is a solid like 3 out of 5, maybe 3.5 out of 5. It's pretty good. Maybe I'll do a 10 rating for this video, so it's like a 7 out of 10. Next we'll do Sword. Legendaries you get is Blazing Admiral, Johan, and Lycia. So it's a Machina sword that focuses on the Machina trait with Goblin, Robo-Goblin, Hover Mercenary, Cyber Cannoneer. Interesting choices. I think if you're playing this deck, you definitely want to have more Admirals, maybe. The tier deck, like this tier 2, maybe tier 3 deck that you can play, includes 3 Latham, but he's rotating out, so I wouldn't worry about that if you're a new player. Lycia is pretty solid, like a really strong 4-drop. Just doesn't really have the room in the Machina list usually, but I think this is fine for a new player's deck, including her. You combo her with Quickblader. The problem with her in this deck is that you don't have a lot of officers to combo with. You only have Quickblader, Oasis Knight, and like Arms Dealer, which is pretty bad for Lycia. You kind of want to have more officers. So kind of anti-synergy in the deck. Otherwise, it seems okay. I would cut down on the number of cores. Try to find some more legendaries. Oh, and gold cards. We have 3 Azords, 3 Stampeding Fortress, and 3 Leod. All very good gold cards. Yeah, and they're all playable. Sword gets a also get a 7 out of 10. It's also very good. I'd say it's good. Just awkward with Lycia. You might want to replace her with more Machina cards. Ninja Master is a basic card. You don't really need to have him in there. Next we have Runecraft. Runecraft looks like a spell boost rune. The legendaries is 1 Prophetess of Creation, 2 Tetra, and 2 Solomon. Yeah, this is looks pretty close to something that's playable. Prophetess, you only really want 1, so it's good that they only include 1 Prophetess. You don't want to craft anymore. Clark is a really good gold card, like really important gold card, played in pretty much every rune deck right now. Monica's really strong. Eleanor is good. I think you'd want to probably find a way to include another Solomon and a Riao, 7 cost card. Right now, the only way to get 7 cost card is from Monica dying, which is not very good for Prophetess. So if you can find a way of getting Riao in here, probably cut down on the cores again. Yeah. But yeah, pretty good. I don't think any problems with the card pool you get here. They're all pretty good. I'm gonna give this 8 out of 10. Next we have the Dragoncraft. Legendaries get 2 Forte, Ruler of the Skies, 1 Hastewing Dragonute, and 2 Brian. So it looks like it wants to be an aggro sword of some kind. Running 3 Dragon Ranch, 3 Anne Rose, and 3 Soaring Dragonute as your gold cards. That's fine. Lots of Storm, pretty aggressive. I'd recommend cutting the Dragon Guard, finding another way to get some more Brians in the deck. Definitely get Mechwing in here. We'll talk about Mechwing later. Mechwing is a card you want to put in pretty much almost every deck in the game right now. Almost every deck in the game. So if you're a new player, look at Mechwing Angel, because it's really important for most builds. And this build included. The last 2 builds I think we looked at also could run that card. You know, this deck's not very strong, but I don't think you lose that much value. Most of the cards seem pretty playable. So, if you want to play Dragoncraft, it's fine. It gets a 6.5 out of 10. Next we have Shadow. Oh boy, okay. 2 Colossal Skull Lords, 2 Aina, 1 Circe for your gold cards. They're all pretty fine. Colossal Skull Lord isn't doing so hot right now because there's a lot of mech builds going around, and he has a really hard time against those decks. Gold cards, you get 3 Baleful Necromancers, and 3 Steelclad Minotaur, and 3 Nicola, which are all really bad in Mechana Shadow, which is what it's trying to be. So your gold cards are pretty unplayable at the moment. Aside from Steelclad Minotaur having some niche play, but otherwise the gold cards are not going to get any real play out of them at the moment. Yeah, and like Circe is good, Aina is fine. She can play her in decks that aren't Mechana, but you really want to play her in a Mechana deck. Just Mechana Shadow's not doing so good right now. I wouldn't recommend this for a new player, unless you really want to play Shadow. This deck gets a 5 out of 10. Definitely want to include Mechwing Angels. Like I said, they're a really important card. And yeah, it's not a very good deck. Maybe even rated lower, but the legendaries are fine enough. Next we have Bloodcraft, another Mechana deck. As you can see that it's really easy to build these Mechana decks. That's what they're trying to push out, these pre-builts. Gold cards, we have 1 Technolord, 2 Slain, and 2 Mono. All very good cards for the Mechana blood list. You definitely want to include 3 Mono, maybe 2 Technolords, and 3 Slain if you're playing that deck. But It's probably a small investment once you already have these pieces, so it's really good if you want to start off with Machina Bloodcraft. Gold cards, you get 3 Destructive Succubus, which is a really, really good card. Unleashed Nightmare, which is pretty much goes in every single blood deck ever, because it's just so good. And 3 To Blame, which you don't really want to play in Machina Bloodcraft, but it's not bad. You can play it in Vengeance Bloodcraft. But not a card you want to include in the Machina list. Yeah, it's pretty good. Just replace some of the random cards like Dark General and Furfur and some other stuff with more Machina cards. You try to fit more Machina cards as you can in here. But the gold and legendary wise is very solid. I'm going to give the Bloodcraft deck a 9 out of 10. You're very, very close to a competitive deck. Just want to get those Mechwing Angels in there. Next up we have Havencraft. It is also a Machina list. Legendaries, you get 1 Holy Lord Ector, 2 Lamona, and 2 Elslain Saint Hares. For gold cards, we get 3 Father Refinement, 3 Sonya, and 3 Ephemeria. I don't really understand the theme of this deck. Like, it is a Machina list, but it has no payoff, really. Haven, Machina lists, really want to play a game where they have some other win con. It's a really solid side package for something else. So, like, your main package can be Elena heal deck with Machina, or it can be Seraph OTK with Machina, but this is just pure Machina with no real win con, so you'd have to slot those in. Legendaries, Holy Lord Ector is really good. 1 is probably enough for this current meta, but you can always go up for more. Lamona's good. 2 of is fine. Saint Hare's not seeing much play right now, but he could see play if you want in Elena, just as something you can put on the board and start spamming out. It's really awkward in this list, out of the box, because you get 2 Saint Hares, which means that you don't get full value out of your Saint Hare when you play him on 4. So it's really bad to play this list out of the box. Your Saint Hare actually gets minimum value, or like not the value you want out of him. You want to run at least 3 1-drops in your deck for him to work. Yeah, this is like Shadow. Like, not as bad as Shadow because the gold cards are at least somewhat playable. Father Refinement's fine. Sonya's pretty niche. Ephemeria is not bad, but it shouldn't really see much play. Yeah, I'm gonna give this a 6, maybe a 5.5. It's better than the Shadow deck, but not by much. Also, put some Mechwing Angels on deck. Next we have Steelclad Crosity, which is the Portalcraft list. It looks like an artifact portal list, artifact / Machina list. We've got, for legendaries, we've got 1 Xion. We've got 2 Baphomet, Belphomet, and 2 Dine. Gold cards, we have 3 Tile, 3 Maisha, and 3 Augmentation Bestowal. Oh boy. So the core of the deck is pretty solid. You're running the silver and bronze cards, and like, let's say this half of the deck looks good, or this half of the deck does not look good, and where the second half of the deck doesn't look good, that's where most of your golds and legendaries are. I wouldn't recommend this. You'd probably be easier to build a deck without buying this pre-built, because there's so many cards you're not going to be using. You're not going to be using Aegis. You're not going to be using Tile. You're probably not going to be using Baphomet. Dine, you're probably not going to use either. Altar Pool Onslaught, you're definitely going to use. but these other guys you don't really need. It'd probably be better just to build the deck without this. It's not that expensive file-wise, but this is not really the optimal version of Artifact, Machina, Portalcraft. This is going to get about maybe a less rating than even Shadow. It's going to be like a 4 or something. It's not very good. But if you're going to build Portalcraft, look out for these cards. Look for Bristol. Look for Misha. Yeah, they're very good. Next up we have... That's it. That's all of it. So I recommend looking at the Forestcraft, the Rune, and the Blood as your maybe go-tos for power level if you want to just play right out of the box. Let's look at the purchase bonuses. So if you buy one, you get Angelic Smite, Alternate Art. You get 3 of them. Very good card currently. Very solid removal for big amulets. Just a good card to have in your arsenal. If you buy 2, you get Mechwing Angel, which I was talking about goes into pretty much every single deck here. You really want it in a lot of them. Some of them can just use it just because. But like, you could play it in Forest. Maybe not the best option, but you can play it in Forest. You have to play it in Sword. You can play it in Rune. You have to play it in Dragon. You have to play it in Shadow. You have to play it in Blood. You have to play it in this Forestcraft list. And it's pretty good in Portal. The Mechwing Angel, definitely really good to get. If you're willing to spend the money, get up to this and have Mechwing Angel, which is going to be played a lot. If you buy 3, you get this emblem and card sleeve. You buy 4, you get another emblem and card sleeve. If you buy 5, you get alternate art. I mean, with animated, which is nice. Not really required. And then you buy 6, you get Mechwing Angel, alternate art, animated, which I really want. But it's also very expensive. And then if you buy 7, you get a Sears Globe, which allows you to turn any card in your library of cards into an animated version. And then you get another one at buying all of them. So, yeah. Pretty solid gameplay wise for the majority. There's a few bad ones. So looking at Shadow and Haven, Portal's playable but not optimal. Haven's playable, but you definitely want to put an actual win con in the deck, which is going to be expensive for vials. If you're looking for a deck you want to play right out of the box, probably look at Blood, Forest, Rune, maybe Dragon. And you know what, these 5 are probably fine out of the box. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hope this was informative. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below.